Hello YouTube Pipers, Double O Pipe here, aka Rick. I have what was this again? My Rat Trays Distillery 129, and I filled it with Carter Hall. And I'm going to use, this is a Bic, I think. Yeah, it's a Bic. I'm going to use it to light it. I've already sucked tobacco into my throat. I was trying to remember where I got this, but I'm not sure where. Probably smokingpipes.com. I went kind of crazy with them to begin with and bought a lot of stuff. I looked inside. I don't have a filter to fit this because I think this is a 9mm filter. So I will just puff on it to filter less. Still like Carter Hall. I have a beverage. We're expecting rain here again from today through the weekend. If it gets bad, I'll take some pictures of the front yard to let you know what the flooding's like here. I was hoping I could live out my days, the rest of my days in this house without worrying about being flooded out. And good Lord willing, I will be able to. But every time it rains, especially when it rains hard, it always makes me anxious. Now that I have a big old dog to take care of too, it's kind of rough. I've been thinking about back when I went through poverty or puberty, whatever you want to call it. Either way, it suits. I had a crush on this girl at the church. And she was just budding into young womanhood. Yeah. And I thought about her a lot in between Sunday to Sunday because she lived way away from where we did. So the time came when we had to have Bible classes on a Sunday afternoon so that we could get ourselves ready for baptism. So every Sunday we would meet in the afternoon. My mother would drop me off and pick me up later. There were 4 girls and 4 guys. And this particular Sunday that remains in my memory was one where this girl that I had the crush on had brought in some chocolate chip cookies. And we had cookies and such and drinks over on our table so that when we had a break we could go over there and chew on something and drink on something. Well, I didn't wander over to that table for a while, and she looked over at me and said, "Aren't you going to come over here? I made these for you." And I brightened up, walked over, and I said, "What are they?" And she said, "Chocolate chip cookies. Didn't you say you like chocolate chip cookies?" I said, "I do like chocolate chip cookies." She said, "Well, have one, because I made them for you." And I had a buddy who was standing there, and he had been talking to her, and I had gotten a little jealous. Didn't realize what I was feeling, this jealousy thing. Didn't realize what it was, but that's what it was. And then I looked at him, smiled, and said, "She made them for me." And he looked at me, and he got a little, kind of, looked at me mean, because he didn't like me saying that, because he wanted her to make them for him. And she blushed when I said that, and she said, I made them for everybody, and I made them for you too," talking to my buddy. And he picked one up, and he voicelessly said, "Yeah." At any rate, she put the plate down and she walked off because she was blushing after that. I mean, we were at that awkward stage in our lives. This is puberty, man. You don't know what to do. Anyway, the lady who was watching over us and teaching us said she had to go somewhere to do something, and she would do that while we were on our break having cookies and Coke. So we said, "Okay, we'll be nice." And as soon as she closed the door, somebody said, "Let's play a game." So we're supposed to be studying Bible verses. He said, "Let's play a game. Let's play Spin the Bottle." This was a guy who was a little bit older than the rest of us. And he looked like he had a little experience under his belt, and that's why he was saying he wanted to play Spin the Bottle. Stupid me, still being as innocent as I was, said, "Kissing? Spin the bottle, that's kissing, isn't it? We'll get cooties." Well, that was the wrong thing to say, because this girl I had a crush on looked at me and said, "Cooties? You think you're going to get cooties from me?" I said, "It's just something you say." I was all embarrassed, and I turned around and kind of walked off. But she got mad. She got mad because she thought I was upset because I didn't want to get her cooties. And everybody kind of looked at me and laughed, and I said, "You mean we won't get cooties?" So anyway, this guy who had age on us got a bottle and said, "Come on, get over here and get in a circle." How this works, because he had to explain it to us. We'd never played Spin the Bottle before. Whoever spins the bottle, if it lands on a girl, then he and the girl kiss. If it lands on a boy, he spins the bottle again. Same thing with a girl. She spins, lands on a boy, it's okay. Lands on a girl, she spins again. So we have the rules down. He said, "I'll show you how it works." So he spun the bottle. That bottle went cracking across the floor. Linoleum, I guess. And it stopped on the girl next to the girl that I had the crush on. And she looked at him. She got a big smile on her face. And he said, "Now, one other thing I forgot to tell you. Because it's a private thing, this kissing, we have to go in the closet and close the door." Everybody looked at him like, "Huh?" I was thinking to myself, kissing, you just put your lips together. Why you got to go in the closet? So anyway, the girl shook her head and said, "Okay." And he got up, took her by the hand. They walked into the closet, closed the door. And we sat there waiting on them to finish up. 2 minutes. 4 minutes. I said, how long does it take to kiss a girl, for goodness sakes? And then the door opened after 5 minutes. Now the girl came out. She was a little flushed. Her hair was a tad messed up, and she was straightening her dress. And he looked like he hadn't combed his hair, but we knew he had, so he must have mussed it up somehow in there. We didn't know what in the world. So he said, okay, it's her turn to spin the bottle now. So she spun the bottle. And it stopped on my buddy. And he got this big grin on his face and took her by the hand. They walked into the closet, closed the door. They were more than 5 minutes. I couldn't figure out what the heck they were doing. I mean, for goodness sakes, to kiss a girl, you just go, and that's it. Why do you even have to go in the closet? So after it must have been 6 or 7 minutes, the door opened and they came out. Boy, her hair was really a muss. He looked like he hadn't combed it in I don't know how long. His shirt was all rumpled and out of his pants, and her dress was all rumpled, and she was pulling it straight, and she sat down and he sat down. He had this big grin on his face, and I was thinking to myself, what in the world's going on? So he spun the bottle then, and lo and behold, stopped right on the girl in front of me, the girl I had the crush on. Now I got upset. I didn't realize what was wrong with me, but this was jealousy, and I was upset. My buddy was taking my girl into the closet. Well, before he could do that, we heard footsteps coming toward the door, so we all got up. The guy put the bottle behind him. We all went to the table. Looked like we were fooling around with what was on the table. And the lady poked her head in and said, are you all doing fine? You all doing okay? I said, yes, ma'am, we're studying our verses. She said, that's good. Now, I looked at the clock, and it looks like it's about time for your parents to come for you, so be getting ready to go home. She said, I'll be back shortly. So we all said, yes, ma'am. As soon as that door closed, we were all back in the circle, except for my buddy and my girl. He took her by the hand. They walked into the closet, closed the door, heard a short scream and a slap, and that door opened and she came rushing out there and sat back down to where she was before she left. He came out with this look on his face like, oh well, and he had this handprint on his face. On his cheek. He sat down. You can always try. I said, try what? So it was her turn to spin the bottle, and she spun the bottle. And lo and behold, that thing hit right on me, and I was afraid and excited at the same time, because I had never kissed a girl. Whoa, jeepers. So I had no idea what was going to happen. And she stood up and she held out her hand, and I stood up. I was kind of nervous because I didn't know what to do. I had never done anything like this. She led me into the closet. We closed the door. I said, Mom. She said, shh, hush now. Let me show you what we're supposed to do. And she put her hands on my cheeks and leaned into me, and she was kissing me, and it was seventh heaven to me. I didn't know what in the world had come over me, but my whole body just went into tremors, and I had this feeling dip down deep into me, but like, oh boy, is this good? I want more of this. But I didn't know what I wanted more of. I just knew I wanted more. Because I had no idea what these emotions were that were coming up in me. Well, that kiss lingered on, and the more it lingered, the more I was enjoying it, and I wrapped my arms around her and pulled her real close, and all of a sudden, we heard a bang, bang, bang on the door. She's coming, get out of there. I said, I don't want to leave here. And she said, we got to go. So we walked out, and I was in a daze. I had never had anything so wonderful in all my life happen to me. So I walked over to the table and grabbed a chocolate chip cookie because I didn't know what else to do. I was speechless. And she said, well, how are those cooties? And I said, cooties? What are cooties? And the teacher came in and she said, your parents are beginning to arrive, so you better gather your things up and let's go downstairs. So we all started getting our things together, and I was in a daze. I didn't know what to say to her or to anybody, because that was the most exciting thing that had ever happened to me. And as I was walking out, she started chuckling, saying, you better make sure those cooties don't get you down. And I didn't know what to say, so I just continued on out the door. Boy, did I have a crush on that girl. And she was just beginning to get a figure, so I mean, she wasn't a little girl anymore. She was turning, as we would say. She was budding in the right places. And my eyes were flickering from her eyes to her budding chest, to her eyes. And she blushed every time I looked down. But we liked each other. We talked on the phone a lot in between Sundays. We met one time to go to a movie in town. We met at the movie. Sat there holding hands. And you know how it is. You finally work your way up to putting your arm around her. And your arm goes dead on you. But that was the movie didn't matter. I mean, I was with this girl that I was just crazy about. First big crush I ever had. First kiss I ever had. Don't remember ever kissing her again, though. I think I felt like in order to kiss a girl, you had to play spin the bottle. Because I went on a hayride with another girl after those days. And she said, well, see what all these people are doing? They're just kissing on this hayride, and that's what you do on a hayride. And I said, well, I don't have a bottle to spin. She said, you don't need a bottle to spin a hayride. She pulled me into her and kissed me. I was a stupid kid. And I don't know how that would have been taken if that teacher had caught us spinning the bottle. And my buddy, who had gotten slapped, I asked him what he had done. He said, well, you got to try. And I said, try what? And he just smiled. He didn't enlighten me in any way whatsoever. I didn't know anything about relations with girls. But he obviously did. And the guy who started the spin the bottle must have, because, like I say, he was a couple of years older than us, a little bit more experienced. When was, do y'all remember when you had your first kiss and how it came about? And were you as stupid as I was? Or did you know what was coming? Ah, I just thought about that and kind of cracked me up. Can't believe that I was as naive as I was, but I was naive for a long time. I didn't learn very easy, especially when it came to girls. But anyway, probably need a girl in my life now, but there ain't one. Okay, folks. Hope I didn't bore you. Just thinking of fun times way back when. I must have been about, well, we were going through puberty, so we were either in our teens or just beginning to come into our teens. And she was, like all girls, a little ahead of us because she was popping out all over. Okay. Hope everybody's doing fine. Hope you don't have rain like we're supposed to have. And I hope it doesn't flood here, but if it does, it does. We're in God's hands. That's all I can say. All right. God bless. Take care of yourselves.